Am I the a-hole for wanting to end a friendship with one of my bridesmaids? So I, 32 female, and a friend, 51 female, are not talking because of a text I sent her about being in my bridal party and her role. Am I overreacting by wanting to cut her out of my life entirely? It kind of started back in November of 2024 when her and two of our mutual friends were on a call, and she casually mentioned that she wants to have a choreographed dance for the ceremony, and she was inviting her aunt from Indiana and cousin from Canada to my wedding. I've never met either of these relatives. It kind of caught me by surprise, so I just laughed it off. We're having a small, intimate wedding. Our little friend group is 4 Kenyan girls, and back home, it's normal to have big weddings where random neighbors and people you don't know show up to celebrate with you. I kind of chalked it up to maybe that's what she was envisioning, but it definitely upset me and made me feel like she doesn't care and is making my wedding about herself. On top of that, my fiance and I don't come from much money. He's American. We're paying for everything ourselves and trying to stay below our budget. Fast forward to early February 2025, and I was picking out dresses for the bridal party. I sent it to her and one of our friends, 24 female, to get her opinion. And she said she would rather not wear a dress with a slit. So I picked a different dress. My maid of honor, 27 female, and I decided we should do a Zoom call with all the girls in the bridal party. During the call, she asked a few questions, but overall seemed disinterested in being there. The Kenyan girls and I all had a call afterwards, and she said she didn't like this new dress because she might lose weight, and then her arms would look flabby in the dress because it was a sleeveless cross-shoulder dress. Okay. You know, I have heard of brides just say, okay, you can wear whatever dress you feel comfortable in as long as it's this color. But it really is kind of up to the bride. Like if she wants all her bridesmaids to be wearing the same dress, it's kind of up to her. Doesn't really necessarily matter. And also, like, you're the bridesmaid. It's not meant to be something where you're showing off. Like, I'm sure she won't put you in a paper bag, but it's not like, I need to look like $1 million. Like, the day is not about you. And then she wanted to add a Kenyan dance to the wedding reception entrance. I mean, she can do that for her wedding. My face was loud at this point, so she said that she can hear what I'm thinking because it shows on my face. Also, at 3 different calls with our friends, she's mentioned she feels like she's too old to be in my bridal party. Not in those words, but that was the sentiment. Yeah, I mean, it kind of just seems like she's taking liberties, and it's one thing to like want to surprise someone at their wedding, but it's not really up to any of the bridal party to plan the wedding itself, as far as I know. So the fact that she's kind of like changing plans all the time, like what the bridal party's gonna wear, and like, I don't know, you kind of got to tell her. You can't just let her assume that this is okay. Maybe you have a big age difference. Maybe it's cultural. Maybe it's the age difference that this is normal or something. I don't know. But clearly there is a miscommunication happening, and you need to make sure that it's not about, you know, outshining you at your wedding or controlling your wedding or whatever. You need to tell her. After the Zoom call, I talked to my maid of honor, and she was basically like, if she doesn't like the dress, she needs to suck it up or decide if she wants to be in the bridal party. There you go. That's the other thing too. If she feels like she's too old, she doesn't like the dress, then she doesn't need to be in the bridal party. She can come as a guest and wear whatever she wants. Not whatever she wants, but you get my drift. After reflecting, she was like, actually, she has a valid concern since it's a body image thing. I decided I wanted to have a conversation about her role in the wedding and maybe figure out if the bridesmaid role was what made the most sense to her. Maybe she would feel more comfortable as like a cultural coordinator or something else, where she could wear whatever she wanted to and add the cultural components to the wedding that I might not know about because I grew up in the US. I think that's fair. That's a good idea. So this is the text exchange that happened last week, and she's not responded to any of my calls or texts and refuses to talk to me. At the same time she was texting me, she was texting my best friend, who's also my matron of honor, 33 female, and is in our little Kenyan friend group, to tell her how she feels about the whole situation. My BFF advised her to talk to me and not assume the worst and wait until she talks to me to find out what's going on. I feel like I'm dealing with someone with poor communication skills who doesn't care enough about me to assume good intentions. I mean, you're also kind of telling her that you don't want her in the bridal party. So from her side of things, it's like maybe you're kind of demoting her. I don't know. I could also see her being upset if it wasn't like clearly communicated or whatever. I understand that you're trying to like make her feel included and like give her a role that like suits her, but at the same time, you're also telling her that you don't want her to be in your bridal party, and assume the best in me before making a decision like this. Also, this is a lot of drama, drama. I avoid drama like the plague, which is probably why all this stuff has built up. This is the first time I've tried to set a boundary with her, and it seems like our friendship could not survive a basic conversation about my boundaries for my wedding. Also, today I noticed that she left the Bridesmaids group chat last week. Let's read the text messages. Hey R, I hope you're having a great evening. I wanted to touch base with you and make sure we're on the same page about the wedding and everything. I was wondering if you have time to talk about your role in the wedding. Please let me know when you're free to talk this week so we can set some time aside for a video call. She responds, tomorrow evening. I have a few events for work in the evening, but I have time afterwards. Do you want to do 9 p.m. New York time? Sure, I hope I remember. It's 8 p.m. my time. Is this about the dress, the makeup, or the dancing? My dearest little sis, I'm writing this with a heavy heart. I did not sleep well last night. I have cried about this. This is not your handwriting. I know how you frame your words to me, and if this is really you, then you have changed. You know, I work with words, meanings, connotations. This message I would expect from my manager when I'm not up to my role. A meeting would mean putting me back in my place. I understand that what she was doing was a little bit frustrating, but I kind of also wish that you maybe talked to her before deciding that you didn't want her to be a bridesmaid. I would have expected an informal tone the way that you speak to me, and I would have listened like I always do. I'm sorry if anything I said on Friday caused you grief. You know me, I always want my little sister and my adopted brother to have the best of everything. This hasn't changed. To help make it easier, I've decided I won't have a role in your wedding. I love you and I always will. You'll always be my little sister. Be calm as you make plans for the big day. It will be a fantastic one. Interesting. Oh my God. Hey R, I'm so sorry you couldn't sleep last night. I think a lot has been lost in translation because we're texting. I think you should wait to make a decision this big until after we talk tonight. I want you to be a part of our wedding. Maybe we have to figure out what you are most comfortable with. Either way, you're forever part of my family and I want you at our wedding. Hey hun, let me know when you're free. She's calling, not answering texts, and she removed herself from the bridal party group chat. So she knows what's about to happen. I think from her perspective, she's trying to help. And I can also tell by the way that she wrote her messages that she's sorry for what she said. She apologized. That's big of her. And she doesn't even know really why you've made the decision you have. This is a tough one. Like, I don't want to say that you're a bridezilla, but I also feel like you could have communicated better when there were kind of miscommunications where, you know, she wanted a different dress or incorporate some of your culture into your wedding. I think that you could have set a boundary then. It doesn't need to be this thing that kind of builds up and it's like, you're trying to take over my wedding or whatever. Like, I think that you could also just state a boundary in the moment rather than letting it fester and then removing her from the bridal party entirely. Cause that, like, I could see how that would hurt her feelings for sure. Let's look at some of the responses. Cause like, I think I do have a feeling that this is a bit bridezilla-ish. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. I don't like to throw that word around. But I do think that there could have been some clearer communication and just frank communication as friends throughout all of this. You could have taken 10 seconds to add a few sentences and tell her what the call would be regarding. It's so easy for people, especially people with anxiety, to read that message and assume she's being kicked out. Saying you need to talk about her role, but not, it totally is something like a boss would say, but not telling her exactly what it is leaves you with the upper hand and her stewing in questions, especially if the call isn't going to be on the same day. That's not fair. Totally. And like, listen, I've totally been in this position before where I can always tell this particular person that I'm thinking of, whenever she wants to have like a frank conversation, she always tries to like schedule it. It's so weird. It's like, why don't you just pick up the fucking phone and call me, babe? Just call me. We're friends. So are you a bridezilla? Kind of. I'm not gonna lie. You kind of hurt your friend's feelings, I think. I think we got to communicate better. Just saying. Sorry.